Hello, fam. Out here going ham. Currently headed up a mountain. And although I usually like to make the videos at the top of the mountain, today I'm setting aside all personal likes and preferences and dislikes. Something's telling me to make the video now. Now, there's a full moon today. In honor of her, in her relation to our mother, Earth, I'm making this video. I want to speak further into the subject. But before I get into that, I'd also like to mention the fact that in another video, I mentioned the concept of constructive criticism in a video called This Moment is Inevitable. And I want to bring it up for clarification because that comparison is not from a state of separation, but rather one of unification. Now, in the last video description, I mentioned the fact that one's belief in an individual existence is an illusion. And it's a big problem. Because the notion of separation, of one being a separate entity, being separate from the rest of creation, that's the source of all suffering. All perceived problems stem from that, from feeling separate, from the belief in individual existence. And all perceived problems vanish when we feel a clear, open connection. You may ask, well, connection to what? And to loop back to the fact that today's a full moon day. And I also mentioned in the last video, I believe, that on a full moon day, there's a certain energetic presence that when we're sensitive, when we've cherished and sustained and preserved and conserved our vital life essence, our life force, the fundamental life energy within us, we can feel that presence. There's a certain cosmological alignment in the solar system, in the macrocosm. And it has a profound effect on the human system. It's only because our mothers were in sync with the cycles of the moon that we were born. That's the significance of the cycles of the moon on the human system. Our physical birth is a consequence of this. We could say that the physicality of our birth is a conspiracy between the moon and Earth. And it's true. We want to understand the fact that the moon, the Earth, and the sun, in relation to our human system, all have a profound effect on our sense of connection to creation. Our microcosmic body, as some may believe as an individuality, actually, when we transcend that limiting notion or belief, we feel a deep sense, a visceral sense of connectivity. We can feel the presence when we embody our life essence, and thus we'll naturally live life to the fullest. We'll live life totally. We'll value things for what they are, as it is, without trying to control it and dominate it and project our will upon it. We'll simply accept it. With acceptance, there'll be peace. Now, acceptance doesn't mean a passive state of neglecting. And as I'm headed up the mountain, that you notice the breath, the difference in the rhythm. When you slow down, obviously, you stand still. I mentioned that in the last video as well. The significance of the breath, the life breath. You can go many days without food and even water, which are in the lower energy centers related to the root chakra, earth, our groundedness, survival. Food. Food is the body. Body is food. Food simply sustains our physicality, right? And water has to do with sacral chakra, the water element. And if we're not careful, we can get carried away with pleasure. And pleasure really is related to death. Whereas when we value everything equally and find equal pleasure in all circumstances, we're in tune with life. And of all the things as life that we do upon this planet, there are three most vital aspects that I see as most significant. And I know I'm not alone. And number one is that of self-transformation, transcending all identities, of limiting contextualizations. And that goes back to transcending the notion of a belief in individual existence. Number two is ensuring the quality of the yet to be born, the next generation. What are we doing with this life energy that we've been gifted? We've been born human. Are we simply using our physicality to enjoy the world outwardly? Are we focused on that presence that we can feel subjectively, deeply? Spiritual power that we can witness directly. And number three, last but not least, is to evolve energetically, spiritually. And of course, the three are related simultaneously. And of these three most fundamental aspects and qualities, the cycles of the moon are very important. And again, if we understand the significance of the full moon and the new moon days, the cycles of the moon, and their importance, then we can navigate life much more easily. Swim with the current as opposed to against it. With the course nature, with the flow. Because nature doesn't decide things with thoughts and emotions. Only belief in an individual existence does that. One who's completely surrendered to Mother Nature and our Divine Mother, Father, Creator. There's no resistance. There's no resistance to life. In this state of absolute non-resistance and contentment in all circumstances renders one not only at peace, but with a profound sense of purpose, even if it's not acknowledged outwardly. Somebody knows the intent in their heart, then that's enough for them. They don't need all the trinkets. They can simply sit and enjoy sunset without needing something added onto them. And although it's around that time, the presence, right around sunset, I also mentioned that in the last video, how approximately 20 minutes before sunset, there's a certain energy. Thus, I make this video now. Sometimes the best thing you can do, not even say anything, simply smile. You don't know. Smile at the stranger, right? The supposed stranger that's really you pushed out. It's a reflection of you. They're not a separate entity. On the surface, they may be. They may appear so. But subjectively, when you feel that connectivity, you'll see them as a reflection of yourself. And so you smile at them. You don't know. They could be off to go hang themselves. You never know. And just by that simple smile, the act, which didn't involve any words, oftentimes people are spellbound by their own monologue. So I really try to make these videos from the heart, and although they convey different vibes based on the mood or energy state I'm in, or based on my vibration, they all come from the heart. I try not to make them from the mind. Try not to memorize. And although, there may be a couple concepts that I'm like, I want to incorporate into this video, I simply let it flow. And so, hence, the different energy. Although fundamentally it's the same energy, just vibrating at different frequencies. Depending upon one's qualities. Maybe understand the significance of the solar cycles and the moon cycles will be of a higher quality. Will emanate a more potent and powerful energy to share with the rest of humanity. You won't be overrun emotionally. We'll be in tune with nature's intelligence. Going back to this, what's the difference? The fact that nature doesn't decide things with emotions. We want to understand emotions. And even more, you want to understand what a relationship is and why we form human relationships. Many different purposes we form relationships, right? But essentially, they're to fulfill a certain need, whether it be an emotional need, social need, physical need, financial need, psychological need, whatever the need may be. Essentially, all relationships are concerned with the body. And when the body drops, because physicality is temporary, right? The relationship goes with it. The only way that a relationship is gonna extend over lifetimes is if it transcends the limitations of physicality. In another video, I mentioned the immortality of friendship, of true friendship. A lot of people may believe, as I did at one time, that love is something to get. I love this person and that person. And from such refraction, we refract the energy that naturally loves everything as a part of me, as a part of myself. There's no separation. There's no personal identification to refract the energy that wants to express through me and manifest through me and share with the rest of humanity. The fact that love is a state of being. It's something that you become, something that you are internally. There's not a personal me to say I love this person and not that person, and I like this and not that, and I have this attachment and that aversion. Because what's an attachment? It's a like. What's an aversion? It's a dislike. And there's many different ways we can perceive creation. And one way may be seeing everything's nonsense. And it's beautiful. If somebody's completely firm on that, the world is nonsense, I don't like this or hate that, it's just all nonsense. That's beautiful. And so is viewing everything as sacred. That's also beautiful. But the problem is when there's one that views this as sacred and that as nonsense. Because they create a difference. And that's unnecessary discrimination of creation that renders them in that state of separation that I mentioned. They create an unnecessary duality, subjectively. And thus they don't feel that profound sense of connectivity. And I've been there. I understand it. That's why I mention this. To share these concepts, which are best conveyed again through silence. Guess that's all for now. God bless. Take care. Get out and enjoy some fresh air.